Hi everyone, welcome to the WLIA Committee Spotlight Series. My name is Kristen Vincent, GIS Manager for the City of De Pere and current WLIA Board Member. Today I am joined by Colter Sikora, current WLIA Past President. Thanks for being here today, Colter.
Absolutely, Kristen.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, Kristen. So I've been in kind of the mapping game here in Wisconsin. It's more than a game, but doggone it, it's fun like a game. I've been here in the professional capacity since 2013. I work as the GIS lead at the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin, a medium-sized state agency that regulates utilities, and in my world, we promote the expansion of broadband access. We've got a great team of mappers back in Madison, and we have some fun together. We actually just rolled out an application today that I will brag about later, not in this interview. But in the rest of my life, I don't know, like I'm geography obsessed and I'm a bit Wisconsin obsessed. And I mean, talk to any geography nerd. Geography is everywhere. And one of the fun things about being interested in geography and interested in maps and part of the WLIA community, which no doubt we'll talk about later, is just the opportunity to kind of live this passion, this hobby, this whatever you want to call it of mine. And you just got a little bit more than what you asked for, but there's a little summary of what I'm about. Fishing's great too, since it's the month of June.
So your current role in the association is past president. What does that mean, and how did you come into this role?
So serving as past president is the third year and like the last super formal year of a 3-year presidential cycle that we have at WLIA. When you go through the presidential cycle, you start as the president-elect, the person who their main charge is to put on the annual conference for the upcoming year. This year, David Buehler is doing that with us and is helping us rethink a little bit how we do the annual conference to make it a little slicker, a little more efficient, but not have a smaller footprint, which I think is great. That year is followed up by the president's role. This year, the Honorable Kimberly Chrisman is taking up those reins, and she's responsible for keeping our board of directors group kind of in a cohesive act, if you will. And Kim is doing a great job there, and I think she's learning a lot of really cool things along the way. As past president, sometimes I feel like I get to rest on my laurels, but this is my 6th year on the WLIA board in one form or another, counting the presidential cycle. And being that this is my last year on the board and I have these years of experience, my job is to help advise the current board, the president and president-elect, of things that we have done just from the history of what I've done as part of the WLIA board over the years and my own experiences going through the presidential cycle. And really, I'm also part of kind of a longer string of WLIA history and all of the wonderful past presidents that I've learned from in my development. And one of the really cool things about the WLIA community, not just a presidential role, is how well our leadership stays connected with our active members, even as they kind of graduate out of the presidential cycle. Fun bonus, nobody gives this person enough credit, but there is a 4th year of the presidential cycle where that individual will run the WLIA Foundation, which is basically the body that helps raise funds for our scholarship program here at WLIA. And Jennifer Borlick is captaining that ship as we speak, and she's a great influence for me as I was kind of learning out, trying to figure out how to do this WLIA thing too. I don't know if I actually answered all of your questions.
You did.
Oh,
Definitely
good.
did.
Good.
So as past president, you are also chair of 3 committees.
That's right. Thank you for reminding me.
So that would be the Scholarship Committee, Awards, and Nominations. Let's start with Scholarship. What is the Damon Anderson Memorial Scholarship?
The Damon Anderson Memorial Scholarship is our formal platform for basically helping fundraise our students here in Wisconsin and affected by Wisconsin who are interested in the land information field to help their educational journey, hopefully into as I said, the land information field. We've had it around in one form or another for quite a long time, over a decade. I remember applying for it once. I do not even know if it had the Damon Anderson name yet at the time, but it's, again, kind of a long-standing institution that we have here to support students likely going into the land information field to help make that educational barrier a little bit easier for them to get over. And also, I would argue an opportunity for those students applying for this scholarship, and even for us as an association, to reflect on WLIA's past and consider the service role that we all have as WLIA members and members of the larger land information community in Wisconsin. To give a shout out to the namesake of our scholarship program, Damon Anderson. He was a long-standing volunteer for WLIA. He was on the board of directors a few years before I would have been involved in the association, and he was a very big community leader in Ozaukee County where he was living and working. We actually lost him much too soon, and kind of as a prompting of, looking back at his life, looking back at the service that he did, and thinking about, I'd say, the service that a lot of us as WLIA and land information community members are sort of obliged to in the roles that we have. We took a nod at Damon Anderson's memory with our scholarship program, and I think it's worth thinking about both in terms of our scholarship program and service as a whole within land information and WLIA, just to have some consideration for all the folks that we impact in the work that we do and in the steps that we take moving ahead in our careers.
So what do scholarship committee members do?
So scholarship committee members, the actual committee members generally are responsible for, and in varying degrees, like WLIA does a good job of letting people contribute kind of to their strengths. Usually the chair is responsible for kind of putting together and reviewing the rubrics for our scholarship applicants, and the wider committee is involved in reviewing our scholarship applications that we get every year and helping as a group build a consensus as to who our scholarship recipients will be year. But it's worth noting that this year we are offering 3 $2,000 scholarships to our student awardees when that time comes. So we've been fortunate these last few years to be able to pick that scholarship award up, or that total up, a little bit, and ultimately kind of broaden this out to be, again, more useful for our college students coming in. Great.
So thinking about the awards committee, what are some awards that people can be nominated for?
Absolutely. So and as Kristen said, there's 3 committees. It's fun juggling all those hats. But for our awards committee, we look at this as our opportunity to recognize big contributors in WLIA kind of over the body of our whole community. So there are several awards that we have that focus on different aspects of our group. I think I'm going to start in chronological order of what one might hit in their career. I don't know that I would suggest approaching awards this way, but we're going to try it. We do have an Emerging Leaders Award that has just come out in the last few years, and that is for young professionals, or I should say professionals just getting started in the WLIA community. We usually kind of have a cutoff of folks who've been in land formation for 7 years or less, who are contributing to their employer and our larger community as a whole. And we recognize folks for those kind of early starts that they're doing, and there's kind of their early gift of service to the land information community here in Wisconsin. We do look a bit further down the road. We have awards like Outstanding Contributor for an individual, regardless of where they are in their career, who's just been regularly giving a lot of themselves above and beyond kind of what's expected to WLIA. We also have sustained, I should say more like career length sustained leadership and basically supportive WLIA awards that recognize the work folks have done over sometimes literally decades of land information work here in the state. We also recognize our board of directors for the work that they do over the course of a year, or years, I should say, in these volunteer roles, because it is a lot of work. It's fulfilling work, but, it is ultimately all volunteer effort here at WLIA, so I'm glad that we're able to recognize a wide spread of folks for the stuff that they do throughout a year or a career.
Yeah, for sure. What is the nominations committee, and what are the goals?
The nominations committee serves to basically be the intake engine for future board members like yourself and future presidents. Well, I'm not a future president anymore, but basically to help foster the leadership here at WLIA for the short-term and ultimately long-term future. I think what's been exciting for me, so I've been part of the nominations committee since, one of my early years in the board of directors. I don't remember which year anymore, but it's a cool opportunity to take a little bit of stock of who do we have who's contributing in a big way to WLIA and who's in position to step up and do some more or offer some of their own special creativity or gifts to the association, either as a board member or as a president-elect. I'll say, like, having been on the board now 6 years, having known people on the board for several years before that, being in the nominations committee is a great opportunity to really get to kind of put the community building and the relationship building that you have in WLIA together and think about, what roles are good for these people that I've worked with in WLIA for a long time. What's good for them individually? What's good for the association as a whole? And no person has the entire master plan figured out for what perfect leadership for WLIA looks like. It's nice to take people, bring the nominations committee together every year and consider where we want to take the association and where folks are in kind of their land information journey, and make openings for them to contribute to what we do as an association.
Great. So if someone watching this knows of a deserving person for an award or nomination, how can they let us know about them?
So on our committee pages on our very slick website, you can go to our awards and our nominations web pages, and we keep basically a Google form there if you want to get into the technical speak, so that you can nominate folks for individual WLIA awards or nominate folks to run for the or you can nominate folks to run for the WLIA board or nominate them for president-elect. That form those forms will come back to me and ultimately to the committees for us to consider. I would also suggest, maybe even more important than getting nominations in on a form, is that you join our awards and nominations, and don't forget the scholarship committees, so that you can help shape where things go and also consider what you can offer to WLIA.
Great. Yes, for sure. Why do you think it's valuable to have an organization like WLIA?
This viewpoint has evolved over the years, but I think the biggest one for me is community. Coming into working in Wisconsin's land information community, I actually went to undergrad at UW-Madison, worked a couple of years down in Missouri, but desperately wanted to come back up north. And my real foot in the door was hearing that WLIA and its members were such the body that it is. And ultimately, I found, even before I had a Wisconsin job, that just a lot of folks were super supportive individuals, and maybe they can't always give you the logistical thing you need to get the next job, but they'll at least, and this is a great thing, WLIA members listen, WLIA members encourage, they provide ideas for you to consider what makes your next step. And it's more than just career advancement, though that's very big. It also gives us as land information professionals in Wisconsin the opportunity to get our heads together and drive initiatives to make our work easier and more fulfilling for us and more productive and useful for the wider Wisconsin public, both citizens and visitors. So without WLIA, we're all kind of just hiding out in our offices, kind of in the land of misfit employees that aren't quite IT and aren't quite everything else. And WLIA gives us a chance to get together and think things through and work together.
Great, yeah, for sure. So this next one might be a little bit of a repeat, but
that's fine.
What does WLIA mean to you?
Oh, okay. WLIA to me really means having a strong community to go to and swap ideas with and really contribute to for the betterment of our work as land information professionals here in Wisconsin. Also, our ability to network with folks outside of state lines, and ultimately the work that we're doing, along with helping provide our own kind of sustenance and making our lives more fulfilling. We're here for a service to take care of folks here in Wisconsin and anybody who's affected by folks and the doings of us Wisconsinites. So I've always liked GIS from that service angle as well, and having WLIA allows us the opportunity to bring ideas, personalities, gifts, strengths, what have you together in order to do more than what we can do on our own as individuals or in our individual offices.
So how can someone get involved in WLIA?
A good way to get involved with WLIA, there's a few means. If you're watching this on video or in audio form, I don't know how you watch an audio, I guess you could stare at your screen. But if you are getting this media in one way or another, I would highly suggest you check out the WLIA website, WLIA.org, and there will be a number of locations where you can contact folks on the board or sign up to be part of committees. And I would say one thing that WLIA has been very strong with over the last decade plus that I've been involved is a board member, a committee participant, our executive services manager, Ann Barrett, who is wonderful, or folks from our presidential trio who are also wonderful. Somebody of that group will do a solid job of reaching out to you, learning a bit about you, figuring out a bit of where you might fit. And I mean, a lot of that is obviously hearing your own interests. So be ready to share what gets you excited about land information and why you might be interested in WLIA. And I would say the association will welcome you with open arms and see what magic you can bring to the table.
Perfect. Well, thank you for being here, sharing that insight.
Dziękuję, absolutely.
And thank you everyone for watching.